I've seen we've been working on the main app, which is Orfi Active.
Yep.
But you've always had something else on the go, and it's kind of something that I've yet to understand really, because from my point of view, we've got the main project, which is Orfi Active. That's our main thing that we're working on. So why wouldn't you or any other founder put 100% of their effort and time into that one thing to make it do well? Why are you kind of going off and spending other time on different things which are taking away from you actually succeeding with the big picture?
Yeah. And I wonder, like what are the actual effects as well to when you're working, on the success of the main project, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you double. So I think there's a few things we need to first really point out, right? There's side projects, side hustles.
Yeah.
And then there's working on multiple big projects at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. And again, it's all very relative to your situation. So when we were speaking with Reese in the last episode, the only real reason he's got the recruitment company together with his Fitter app project is because he's bootstrapping.
What does that mean?
So bootstrapping, he's funding his own project. He didn't have any funding or anything like that.
Okay.
So he needs to generate money in order to be able to do his project, right?
Which makes sense.
And after the conversation, it was very clear that if money was not an issue, if they had enough funding, he would actually leave the recruitment and be full on Fitter, right? And so I think that's one of the main things. So for us, we have Orfi Media and Orfi Active, right? For quite a bit, even though we have funding, it's fairly limited funding. And so any kind of additional penny that comes in is really beneficial for us to do additional marketing hires and stuff like that, which is why Orfi Media is still quite essential for us, but it is not our main thing.
Yeah.
And then you can also dabble, okay? So what I mean by that, so while we do Orfi Media, as you have noticed, I dabbled into other small things, right? So I did Esports Finder, right? I didn't even have a name for it, but like a podcast matchmaking website, where you match guests with shows, right?
Okay.
And so, but if you look at it as a whole, right? Esports Finder is basically exactly the same concept as Orfi Active, just for the esports industry. The reason for that was I was really interested, and I still am very interested in the esports industry.
Yeah.
And I wanted to learn about it. And I just saw that, oh, right, they're actually having the same issues of finding venues where the games actually happen, finding exhibitions, meetups, conferences. Because esports was so new, people really wanted to learn more about it and get into the industry. And so by doing that, I got really educated on esports, on what the mentality there is, what the opportunities are, what kind of mindset people have there, what are the key players in there, right?
Yeah.
And so even though, I didn't put 110% into that project and, I'm kind of like done with it now, if I want and when I want to do anything within esports, I'm already ahead. I know what steps I'll need to take. I know kind of what works and what doesn't already, and I always keep an eye. So I'm a lot more educated on that.
Yeah.
When it comes to the podcast thing, it was literally that, I started my own podcast, Picking Brains, when I was interviewing entrepreneurs. And, I was like, okay, how do I actually get guests apart from the people that I know?
Yeah.
And it was a very similar thing to Orfi Active. It was like, oh, I want to find something. There's nothing that does that for me. Can I do something on my own? I tried to do it. I saw how much time it takes and what's the effort needed for it to make it into a proper product. And at that point, I decided, all right, is that worth my time? And is that distracting me too much from Orfi Active? Yes, leave it. I know there's an opportunity. And long and behold, 6 months later, there's Matchmaker.fm that came about.
Okay.
Shout out. Would you do exactly that and do an absolutely brilliant job and it comes from the founders of Podcast.co, right? So it absolutely makes sense for them, and it actually contributes to their main business.